I'm just wondering if they don't have chat on it. Pop out chat. I can't chat. Well, they're chatting? Oh, weird. I don't see it. Pop out the chat. Well, there you go. There we go. Okay, now I see it. Good evening, everybody. Welcome to the Wednesday Loving Kindness meditation. My name is Alex. It's wonderful to be here with you again. Hello. Hello to everybody online, Ashley and Jean, and I think that was Brian and Linda. I'm not really sure, but hello. We still have plenty of people who would rather just do this online, so that's good. Plus, we had some people from all over the place joining online, so we're still going to keep this online as well. It is wonderful to be here with you, and this is a loving kindness meditation. And can I get a show of hands? Is anyone's first time to the Wednesday class or first time to the Dharma Temple? This is very exciting. So we're just going to start with this gentleman right here. How did you find out about us?
Online.
Okay, you as well?
Yeah, I just Googled this campus in San Diego and stuff result.
Really?
Same.
Same?
Googling.
Your name?
Friend.
A friend? Nice. Friend. Somebody brought you here?
Yes, this one.
Oh, good. Thank you. Well, okay. So, last week when I asked the same question, a whole lot of people just raised their hand, and I'm like, whoa. So it looks like we're getting a lot of new people, and I really like it. So I'm going to talk about that loving kindness in just a little bit, and then we're going to do a meditation, which I'm going to guide, and then we're going to have like a little question and answer session after that. But something really interesting I heard yesterday, and a study that I saw but I didn't read into quite yet, and that's something called meditators' disease. And it's really interesting. It's fascinating. And meditators' disease almost exclusively happens with like Western monks and nuns, like Western monastics, and maybe like advanced Western meditators. And people who get like headaches and all sorts of like other physical symptoms just because of their meditation practice. And what's interesting is that people who are from like traditional Buddhist countries don't really get this. It's just the Westerners, right? And the reason we think this is because, so many of us in the West, we come to meditation sometime in adulthood. It could be in the 20s, 30s, 40s. I was 40 when I first came to meditation, and the 50s and on, and they see this meditation and they hear about the Buddha and his teachings, and they go, "That's what I want. right? That's what I want. I'm just going to meditate, and I'm just going to get rid of this suffering. And they just go, and they just go hard at it. And so they do so. This is really just kind of a lot of unskillfulness, because in these traditional Buddhist countries, they understand that yes, there's these promises that you can become enlightened in this lifetime, but they know that, after growing up in this may take a few lifetimes, and so they're playing the long game. They're playing the long game, and they're just like doing their thing, just trying to build merit and just be a good person. Where a lot of times some of these monastics and advanced, so-called advanced meditators in the West, they just kind of want to do it in this lifetime, and they go too hard, and they get all these like this meditator's disease. They get all these physical ailments from meditating too hard. And so I heard this yesterday, and there was a study showing it. Like again, like I told you, I need to kind of read into this, but it was a wonderful reminder for me, and hopefully for you, that it's okay to play the long game. Yes, the Buddha makes all these promises, and in some of the sutras they say if you could do it in this lifetime. If you couldn't do it, I wouldn't say that you could. So that is true. It does say this, but let's play the long game. Let's start small. We take these precepts and of non-harming, and maybe we just work on this and being a good person and being a kind person, and so take it easy. Take it easy. It was a wonderful reminder to me to just relax and just do your best. These precepts, all these things that we do when we become a Buddhist, they encourage us just to do our best. There's no request for absolute perfection. And so no one should require absolute perfection from you, when you practice, because practice is practicing. You get better over time. It's just a lot of skill building. Happiness, what we like to talk about, happiness, loving kindness, is a skill that we practice every day. No one's asking for perfection from you. We're just saying, hey, do your best and just test these things out and see if they bring change to your life. If they do, keep on doing it. If they don't, then it's okay if you do something else. And that's the part that I really, really like, because there's no real proselytizing in Buddhism. There's no like, we're going to convert you. We just wouldn't do that. That's not our bag. So I thought that was something that was really, really interesting that I saw yesterday. So anyway, more on that. I can't wait to research that. So this is, again, like I said, the loving kindness class. And the word that we really focus on is this word called metta. It's M-E-T-T-A, metta. And, this is a word from the Pali language. And Pali is a language, it's an ancient language. It's a dialect of Sanskrit. And it's a language that we think is pretty close to what the historical Buddha spoke, if not almost exactly what the historical Buddha spoke. Not exactly sure. And when you translate this word from 2,500 years ago into modern day English, it can mean a lot of different things. It could mean unconditional friendliness, loving kindness, goodwill, just simple goodwill. If you're trying to do this for like a difficult person, loving kindness doesn't always come tripping off the tongue, but goodwill you can do. I have goodwill for you. And it's just a wish to be happy. Right? It's a wish to be happy for us and for others to be happy, and for us and others to do the things that cause happiness. And if you know the motto of the Dharma Bum Temple, you know what causes happiness. The motto of the Dharma Bum Temple is think good thoughts, speak good words, do good deeds. That's it. Super, super simple. Think good thoughts, speak good words, do good deeds. And those cause happiness because those things are skills that we do and that we build in this practice. So, all right. I'll skip it this time. But so we're going to do this meditation. Again, I'm going to guide it, and I get my handy dandy timer out. So let's just get situated. If you are on if you're on a chair or a pew, you just want to put your feet flat on the floor with your legs a few inches apart. Your hands can be anywhere. I put my hands in my lap or on my legs like this. Just be comfortable. That's what we're looking for. Your back is nice and straight, so I like to make my back super, super duper straight and then just kind of relax. So my core is still somewhat engaged a little bit, keeping my back straight, but I'm not like super rigid either. Right? Even in this meditation posture, we want you to be straight but not super rigid, right? Our head is nice and straight, maybe tucking your chin under just a little, and then your eyes can be open, your eyes can be closed, your eyes can be half open, just kind of staring, having this kind of unfocused gaze, like staring 45 degrees down past your nose. And just find a position really that's comfortable for you. We want you to do that. There's no hurry for enlightenment, right? So relax. Just follow along. So just allow your eyes to close, making sure that you have that position that's nice and comfortable for you, nice and sustainable, so you're not likely to move around too much. And when we sit like a Buddha. And you can even imagine yourselves as a Buddha sitting underneath your own Bodhi tree of enlightenment. And you can make this any tree you want. It could be an oak tree or a eucalyptus tree or a giant sequoia or redwood. It's your own tree. It could be whatever you want. You can just imagine yourself as a Buddha, ready for the task at hand, ready for the day's abiding, as it says in the sutras. So at first, we'll just pay attention to the breath. So let's just at first take a deep breath all the way in and all the way out. Letting the breath be quite easy and quite natural. Just letting these words, these instructions just kind of wash over you. And when we pay attention to the breath, it's really helpful to pay attention to the breath at the base of the nostrils, just feeling the air go in and out as you breathe. And when the breath comes into the body, you can just feel where it nourishes the body, what parts of the body relax on the breath or with the breath. And you can even direct the breath or the energy of the breath to those parts of the body that maybe are experiencing a little bit of discomfort. That's okay. So just watching the breath go in and watching the breath go out. Getting connected to the breath, which is really helpful for our meditation on loving kindness. So just for the next couple of minutes, just rest as gently as you can in the sensations of breath. So to begin our practice of loving kindness, we're going to call to mind a benefactor. And in Buddhism, a benefactor is anyone who has shown us great love and great kindness. Someone it's really easy to have these feelings of loving kindness for. It's almost like it's no effort at all. It could be like mother, father, brother, sister, best friend. Not really a romantic partner. We kind of want to stay away from that. But anyone else, fair game. Or maybe even someone you see on TV or something like that who's meant a lot to you. And you want to, again, call this person to mind. Understand that they just want to be happy and you want happiness for them. And what we're going to do is we're just going to radiate loving kindness to them. Only picture them in our mind's eye. And however you understand that word radiate, I like to picture a beam of radiation, a beam of loving kindness going from my heart to theirs. And sometimes this beam is warm, it can be cool, it can be any color, it can be all the colors of the rainbow, it can be anything that you want. As you're just kind of wishing loving kindness for this person, as you're just wishing happiness for them. You can even say to yourself, may you be happy. It could be one benefactor, more than one benefactor. They could be living, not living, doesn't matter. It also helps to smile. So for the next few moments, let's do this practice of loving kindness, of metta, unconditional friendliness and goodwill for our benefactor. Just radiating loving kindness to them. Now shifting our focus just a little bit from doing this practice for our benefactor to now we're going to imagine our benefactor doing this practice for us. And it could be the same one, it could be a different benefactor, it's all up to you. And you're just going to imagine them doing this practice for you, wishing you happiness. Maybe they're shooting a beam of loving kindness from their heart to yours. And your only job here is to just receive all of their loving kindness, just to take it all in without reservation. You can even imagine them saying to you, may you be happy, and smiling down at you. So just receive all of their loving kindness. If there's any resistance, that's okay. You don't have to fight against the resistance. You can just put your hand over your heart. Take a deep breath. Seeing, can you soften any of that tightness? Sending the energy of the breath into those areas. And still smiling. And just receiving as much of their loving kindness into your own heart as you can. And we'll do this for the next few moments. probably most important part of this meditation is now we can do this practice for ourselves, to have loving kindness for ourselves. So just call to mind your own wish to be happy, your own wish to be free from danger, to be healthy, to be at peace and live at ease in this world. And you can either just imagine your heart getting bigger and warmer as you wish yourself loving kindness. You could repeat phrases of loving kindness to yourself, like, may I be happy. May I be safe from inner and outer danger. May I be well in body and mind. May I be at peace and live at ease in this world. You can choose one or more of those phrases, or a phrase of your own choosing, so long as it has a loving and a kind intention. That's fine. Maybe all you say is, may I be happy. That's okay. That's perfect. I do that a lot. So for the next few moments, we'll do this practice of loving kindness for ourselves. And finally, we can explore the limitless quality of the heart by doing this practice for all beings in all directions. And in this practice, we understand and assume that the heart does have this limitless quality. And so we just go out as far as we can, just radiating loving kindness to as many people as we can. Upwards to the skies and downwards to the depths, outwards and unbounded, may all beings be at ease, as it says in the Metta Sutra. The words of the Buddha from 2,500 years ago. So for the next few moments, we'll do this practice for all beings in all directions. May all beings be at ease. So just open your eyes when you're ready. just keeping that mindfulness of loving kindness about you as you stretch your arms and you stretch your legs. Just for the next couple of minutes, and then we will begin. If you have a question or about the meditation or the instructions, or I'm always really interested to know what your experience of meditation was. If you have any questions about that, those are always good to bring to the table. I'll be asking about that in a minute here. Or any question about Buddhism, I may or may not be able to answer. We'll see.
I'm curious why you use this practice. You maybe don't want to focus on the partner, romantic partner. You mentioned that in the beginning.
Right. So that's a great question. And the reason why we don't do romantic partners is because there could be some attachment there. And sometimes the opposite feelings can arise. Like if deep down you might be upset at them for some reason. Sometimes that could bubble to the surface. And so we tend to stay away from that. And again, this is a guideline. It's not a hard and fast rule. But generally that's the instructions, and that's why. But thank you for your question.
I'll share. This practice, I feel like, is helping me understand how important it is for me and others to make friends with myself.
Mm-hmm.
Like how making friends with ourselves literally is like a path to inner peace.
Yeah.
Because if we are in a conflict, we can't be in inner peace.
Yeah.
So, and our friends are kind of the ones that we usually don't have conflict with for the most part, and get on with and enjoy their company. So if we can develop that within ourselves through this practice, then we'll always have a friend. Like we'll never be lonely.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. And so I first heard this from, I think, Jack Kornfield, and so I like to use it occasionally when I can. And there is this line from this book. I think it opens the book. It's The Dubliners by Yates, I think. Can't remember. I think it's him. And the line goes, Mr. Duffy lived a short distance from his body. And that is just a perfect line because it describes many of us perfectly. Right? We're so focused externally about what's going on externally, and we never are settled down, in our own body, understanding what's happening here and befriending ourselves, because we're not conditioned that way in this culture. Right? Everything is pretty much external. Get stuff and be happy and all that kind of stuff. Look at this, look at this, look at this. Instead of looking inside, and settling down in our own body and being home in our own body and feeling secure in our own body, whatever body that is. and befriending ourselves so that you're right, so that we're never lonely. I love being by myself. It's one of my favorite things. I love doing this class and I love being with you, but I love being with myself. And it took me a really, really long time to do that. And that's what this practice is about. This is an internal practice. This practice explores our internal world. What's going on in our own heart, in our own mind, and understanding when we're pushing something away because we don't like it, or like grabbing onto it when we like it too much. Both of those things cause suffering. And in the Buddhist practice, this is the problem that we're trying to solve. And the more we can be at home and be at peace in our own body, whatever body that is, the happier we're going to be. So absolutely, you're right. So thank you. Is it Rachel, right?
Yes.
Rachel. So this question could be about the instructions or anything like that. It doesn't matter. Questions, comments. So let me ask, until somebody thinks of something. Was there any part of the meditation that was harder than the rest? More difficult than the rest?
I think it was when we had us have the other, the recipient.
Your benefactor?
Doing that. I was like, well, that's different.
You mean doing this practice for you?
Right. So it was one thing for me to, offer it to them. It was another to visualize them doing it back for me. Not that they wouldn't, but it was just a different spin. I'd never done loving kindness that way before.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, but it was good. It was just different.
How was it different? Can you describe what was different?
Well, I think because
What was your internal world like?
It was, why is he doing that? That's it. Because I like doing it for people that I'm in conflict with as well. And so I did, but I have that opportunity, every day when I do my meditations. But I do like that. I like getting prepared to do it for someone that's easy to do it for, and then it sets it up. And it's also easy for me to want loving kindness for me. It's the hardest for me is to offer the loving kindness to someone I'm in conflict with, and I like doing that part of the meditation along with it. So doing it for someone that it's easy to do it for sets it up to make me in that mood to be able to maybe do it for that individual that is a little more challenging. And I love that I don't do it for my husband.
Yeah. But it was still difficult for your benefactor, imagining them doing it for you.
It was just different.
Different.
Yeah.
And so, the reason we do it this way, and I share this a lot, but I'll just a quick answer is the most important part of this practice is having loving kindness for yourself. Most important. Because if you can have that experience of loving kindness in your own heart, you know what that feels like. If you truly know what that feels like, you would never want anybody to hurt. Because taking it away from them would be like taking it away from you. You don't want that because you already know how this feels. You have that experience, and this is an experiential practice. So the reason why we imagine our benefactor doing this for us before we do it for us ourselves is it's a gentle entryway into doing it for ourselves. Because normally it's really hard for a lot of people to do it for ourselves. But if we have another person that we already know and like, who already have the experience of receiving their loving kindness, if we do that first, then doing it for ourselves maybe isn't so hard. Maybe isn't so bad. Maybe I do deserve this. So, and that's another kind of thing that somebody had a question for a couple weeks ago about, a lot of the phrases that we say are like affirmations, and everyone pretty much knows what an affirmation is, right? But sometimes affirmations, especially when we're doing this practice for ourselves, it almost feels like it's hitting a brick wall, because it's a declarative statement. May I be happy, and sometimes that hits our own heart, and it's like, but I'm not happy. And so there's this thing called an affirmation. Like, what if I'm happy? What if I'm happy? What if I was safe? And how would I feel if I was safe? How would I feel if I was happy? What if? It describes a possibility. It describes something a little bit more attainable for us sometimes. And so that's also something that we can do. And that's a wonderful thing about this practice, is that we can change it up, and different people are in different places, and it could be you're in another place because you're dealing with a particular situation. And so you could cater your practice, your daily practice of loving kindness, to whatever you're dealing with right now. Sometimes you can say, may I be happy, and you just feel that in your being. And sometimes it just feels like it's hitting a brick wall. And so you can do something else, and you can change it up. Because it's not one just kind of solid, this is the technique and this is the only technique. And that's kind of, making this practice really, really dogmatic. And that's what we don't want to do. Because usually, for most people here, that's kind of what we came from. Something that's a lot more dogmatic. And that causes a whole lot of suffering. Now Catholic, or was Catholic.
Kind of struggled.
Yeah, we'll go with you and then we'll go with you. Yeah, go ahead.
I was just gonna say, struggled a little bit with everybody and the loving kindness of everybody, because I couldn't do just a blanket everyone. I had to think of everybody in my head and say their name or picture them. And if I missed them, that was gonna be really bad. And I had to make sure I got everybody in every little group I'm in. And I couldn't do just everybody. I had to do each person, and I was feeling guilty if I missed somebody.
Well, a little in your head.
Uh-huh.
A little in your head, that's okay. But doing that way, doing it something like that is actually okay. So, you could also do, okay, well, let me start with everyone in this room. I could start with that. Maybe I could start with everybody in Hillcrest. And then maybe everybody in University Heights. Everybody in North Park. Everybody in Normal. Everybody just kind of just go inch outward. And you can even start smaller.
Right. I wanted to make sure I got family across the U.S.
Yeah.
Skip over the fire.
Sorry.
And you had a question too?
I was just actually gonna parlay off of what Val had said. That was where I struggled the most, was trying to picture someone else sending that love and kindness to me. And it was interesting because it didn't bring up feelings of not deserving this in general. But the person that I happen to pick is someone I've known my whole life. And so when I had to do it back to them, or back at myself, their way of showing affection is different than mine. And so it was hard for me to feel it. And then the other piece was I had to catch myself going off into tangents about deserving, would this person want to? And suddenly I was going back into our 35 years of knowing each other, and does she remember when I did this when I was 7? And how cruel was that? I started going through all these harms I had done, even as little as they were, and then I would catch myself there. I'd not picture how I got there, and then I'd have to come back to despite who you are, they love you and just take that, you know, so that's where I really struggled with it.
And, it's great that you said that, just because, it kind of talks a little bit about our own, kind of sense of forgiveness for ourselves and loving kindness for ourselves. Do I deserve forgiveness for what I did when I was 7?
Right.
Like, why is that coming up? And I still go through that. I still go back to really, really early stuff sometimes when I think about that. The best thing that you can do, or not the best thing you can do, a really good thing that I like to do whenever I encounter that is just say to myself, isn't that interesting? Isn't that interesting? And sometimes when I put my hand over my heart, which is part of the instructions as well, and isn't that interesting? And I sit there and I kind of forget about the meditation for a minute, and I breathe, and I just sit there and just kind of forgive myself for thinking that, because I know me. I know how I get that way too. And then I can usually pick it up, and I know that they're not thinking that. And they're not thinking that. Or if you're still thinking that, maybe pick another benefactor. But yeah, absolutely. So that can happen, and that's perfectly normal. And the wonderful thing that teaching that I heard is from and he's been here a few times, Tan Jeff from Metta Forest Monastery. It's a Buddhist monastery up in Valley Center. And he's been a monk for a super long time, and he's like 70 now. He's been the abbot there since 93, so about almost 30 years. And he talks a lot about experimenting with your practice, and to not make it so dogmatic. And that's what's helped me, and that's why my instructions are what my instructions are, because that's helped me, because I heard that from him. Because coming from where I came from, I thought things had to be one way and only one way. And even though I pushed away from that because I didn't like that, and that just brought me a lot of suffering, and I came to the Buddhist practice, that was still my conditioning. That's still my conditioning. That's still my go-to, is to, when I hear an instruction, that's the only way you can do it. That's what I hear. That's the only way you can do it, and you can't do it any other way. And Tan Jeff, he always says, no, you have to experiment. You have to test things out. It's kind of like with the breath. If you're meditating on the breath, and you're breathing in and you're breathing out, and you're not comfortable, like a certain part of your body is not comfortable, or you're just not comfortable in general, experiment with the breath. Maybe take a deeper in-breath or a deeper out-breath. Maybe suck in a little harder, or breathe out a little harder, or do something else. Change it up in some way. So he always talks about experiment and see what's going to work for you. What gets you to that calmer place? That you can kind of focus on what you're doing. It doesn't have to be one way. There are 8 billion people in this world, and so there are 8 billion different ways to relate to what's going on in your own world. And it's okay that you experiment and you think about, how do I want to approach this based on my own experience and based on what's going to work for me. And he encourages that, and I encourage that, because that really, really works. So thank you for that. All right, guys, thank you so much. That's our time. It's wonderful to be here with you. I'm so glad there are so many new people. I cannot believe that we had these young people be quiet for so long. That was like a miracle. You know, they actually didn't have to be so quiet for so long. If they made some noise, it would have been okay. We can deal with that. But thank you. I love seeing young people here, so love it. Thank you for being here. And let's join our palms together at our hearts, please. May the benefits of this meditation, this discussion be received by all beings in all directions. May all beings be free from suffering. May all beings be at peace. May all beings be joyful and at ease. May all beings be happy. May all beings be loved and seen for the beautiful, radiant beings that they are. That you are. Thank you for coming. Thank you, guys. Have a wonderful rest of your week. We'll see you next time. Hello, online people. We'll see you guys later, okay?